Dear friends, today on this Lent season, let us reflect upon the 11th station in the way of the cross, that is, Jesus nailed to the cross. Before going into the reflection on this station, let us understand what happened at Calvary Mount. Friday morning, Jesus was sentenced to be crucified. Jesus carried his cross, which was put on his shoulder from the palace of Pilate, the governor of Jerusalem, to Mount Calvary. When he reached Calvary, he was stripped of his clothes and he was laid on the cross, and his hands and legs were nailed to the cross. He had to hang on the cross, nailed till his death. We casually say Jesus was nailed to the cross, and the pain he had to bear on the cross we cannot assess. As God, Jesus could have released himself from the hands of his executioners. He did not powerlessly succumb to being nailed to the cross. He willed it for our salvation. Jesus laid himself down on the cross and willingly stretched his hands and feet to be crucified. This sacrifice opened up the gates of heaven for all believers who accept the reality of the cross and are willingly to obey Christ's commands. Jesus said, "Take up my cross and follow me." This means that my actions, my will, my personal freedom, and my opinions must be offered up to the crucified Lord. It means that we must rejoice in the inconveniences and sufferings that accompany daily life. This means loving God above all things and loving my neighbor as myself. All this is a means of personal crucifixion offered up to Jesus because we love him more than we love ourselves. It was our sins that nailed our beloved Jesus to the cross. If we desire the salvation offered by his crucifixion, we need to obey Jesus' commandments by a personal crucifixion. In allowing himself to be painfully nailed to the cross, Jesus modeled for us how to surrender peacefully to the will of God, especially at times when we are powerless to take matters into our own hands, literally to act on our own behalf. Jesus is the path to heaven. He died as a sacrifice for us. For our lives, this means a faith in following Jesus ensures that the death of our earthly bodies is not the end. We get to continue on forever in the spiritual realm with the Father. Jesus' crucifixion can be upsetting and difficult to comprehend, but we have faith that his death was part of God's plan, one piece in the grand puzzle of God's design. God's own Son, his essence, God himself, the Word became flesh, said in John 1:14, willingly chose to die for us. Then he was resurrected, and one day, if we believe, we too will be resurrected and live forever with him. They will look upon him whom they have pierced. He is nailed to the cross, my friends, and from there is still calling us to look at him.